Today on our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500, we're going to be taking a look at, show you how to install the CURT double lock flip and store underbed gooseneck hitch with installation kit. This is what our gooseneck hitch looks like when it's installed. This is going to give you the safety and comfort to be able to tow your gooseneck trailer. It's going to be a complete underbed system. The only thing we're going to have in the bed of the truck is our safety chain loops and the ring for our gooseneck hitch. As you can see, safety chain loops are in our lower corrugation, and our ring on our gooseneck sits flush with our raised corrugation. This is going to give us total bed access. You'll notice down inside the gooseneck hitch there's a pin on the passenger side. That's for our ball. Our ball is going to have a groove on one side. That is for the pin. The pin is going to keep our ball from dropping all the way down. Our ball is going to be a 5/16 ball. We're going to have a 30,000-pound gross towing weight, a 7,500-pound vertical load limit. I always recommend checking the owner's manual of the vehicle to make sure the vehicle can withstand that amount of weight. When you're done using it and you want bed access, simply take out the ball, flip it straight over, and drop it right back down on the hole. And it's going to come with a nice cover to keep any dirt and debris from getting inside. Our safety chain loops are going to be spring-loaded U-bolts, so when not in use, they stay nice and tight against the bed of the truck. Here we have our dual spring-loaded locking pin. Now the good thing about having a dual pin is you're going to know that your ball is going to be secured in your hitch head. To work our dual pin, we have a handle that stretches out past our frame rail. The nice thing about CURT is you can install that handle and pin on either side, driver or passenger side. It's a matter of personal preference. Once our pin is locked into place, our ball is secured, whether in the storage position or in upright position when being used. We're going to have two solid steel cross braces that are going to span from frame rail to frame rail. Our hitch head is going to attach to those cross braces in 8 locations. And our hitch head and cross braces are all going to have a nice black powder coat finish that are going to resist any rust or corrosion. We're going to have a frame bracket on each side that's going to attach to the frame. Our cross braces are going to attach to the frame bracket to secure our hitch into place. Each bracket is also going to have a nice black powder coat finish to resist any rust or corrosion. We're also going to have a sticker that tells us our weight limits and how to operate the handle. Here's where we have our handle. To operate it, you simply pull out, turn it to the side, and it locks the double locking pin in the open position. That way you can turn your ball over. Once it's turned, simply lock it into place. As far as the installation goes, it's pretty simple, straightforward installation. There's going to be no welding required. The only thing that's going to have to be drilled is the hole here, 2 holes for each safety chain loop. There are other options that work with this hitch. There is an offset ball, which is going to extend the ball back to allow room for shorter bed trucks. There's also fifth wheel options. If you have a fifth wheel trailer, it will drop right into place. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let me show you how to get it installed. First thing we want to do to start our installation is we're going to remove the spare tire. We've gone ahead and already done that. We're going to do things a little bit out of order from here. Rather than going directly into the truck and doing the things we need to do under there, while we have our truck down, we're going to go ahead and take the fender liners out. We're going to take a T15 star bit, and we're going to have 11 star head bolts we need to remove to get our fender liner out. It'll look like this. And then we'll just pull our fender liner out. Before we put in our cross members, take your bolt or your hardware and see if you can thread it in by hand. If you can't, then the threads need to be cleaned out. What happens is when it goes through the process of painting, paint gets on the threads inside of there. You don't want your bolts to cross thread, so we need to take a tap and clean off our threads. You just want to make sure your tap matches your bolt threads. Then you just want to make sure you clean them out. And take your bolt. You should be able to hand thread that bolt in. We're going to have two bars like this. These are going to be our cross members. They're going to stretch from one frame rail to the other. One of them, it has a little groove in it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it has a little notch cut out in it. This is for your gas tank on your driver's side. We're going to start here on our passenger side though and slide it over. We're going to slide it like this. We have our second bracket. This one's going to go towards the back. We're going to be in front of this hatch handle, but the one that does not have the notch is going to go up against it. So we'll go ahead and slide this across, just like that. Next, go ahead and turn your cross members to where your bolt holes are at the bottom of the bar. Next, we're going to put in our frame brackets. See the long side here? This is going to face towards the back of the truck, so that's how you can tell which side goes to what. We're going to take a hex bolt, a lock washer, and a flat washer. Go ahead and get these installed on our cross member here. We're just going to get those finger tightened for now. Then we're going to take our cross member, or our brackets, and we're going to slide them up until our holes match up. We're going to have two holes on our bracket. It's going to match up with the holes in the frame. We're going to take our pull wire, and we're going to take a carriage bolt along with a spacer block. Take our pull wire, we're going to go through the hole, and there's actually a larger hole on the inside of the frame. We'll bring it out that hole. Just like that. Thread your bolt onto your pull wire. Put your spacer block through the hole first and make it a little bit easier. Bolt through just like that. Go ahead and remove your pull wire. I wouldn't just pull it off, and try not to stretch it out too much because we're going to need to use it again. Once you get it out, take your flange nut and we'll loosely install that. Now we're going to do the same thing with this hole. With this hole, there's actually a hole on the other side of the frame rail right behind it. So it'll make it pretty easy to get through there. Now we're going to repeat the same process on the other side of the vehicle, except this front bolt, we're going to have to go through this hole on our frame instead of the inside one because our fuel tank is sitting there. Once we have our hardware finger tightened, we're going to take this tin plate. This is how we're going to mark our hole in our bed of our truck. You're going to see an arrow with an F on it. That means it goes towards the front. We're going to take the flat side, it's going to go up against the bottom of the bed. We're going to take our hex bolts. We're just going to thread them into place. We want this centered. I'm going to take a small drill bit. I'm going to drill a pilot hole right up through the bottom of my bed. Now we can remove the template. You can see where our hole is here. We're going to take a 4-inch hole saw bit. What I like to do to make this easier, because the teeth on here, when it hits this metal, this is going to jump around. Take a piece of plywood, make yourself a 4-inch hole. We're going to use that as a guide for our bit. Line up on there. And then we can take this, just like this. Then we'll drill out our hole. I'm going to take a file, this is up to you, and I'm going to file down my edges to knock off any burrs that are there. Once you get it done, this doesn't have a bed liner in it, so what I'm going to use, I'm just going to use a clear coat and cover up this bare metal. That'll help reduce any rusting later on down the road. We're going to have a chrome ring that goes right on top of our lip here. You can install it before or after. I would say before is going to make it easier, but you just have to watch when you're putting this center section up through the hole. Try not to scratch it. Now what's nice about the CURT gooseneck is they're going to give you this rubber ring to fit right on the inside edge of this. It's going to be split on one side, and it also has a adhesive in the middle of it, over here in the back, to help allow it to stick into place. So we'll just work our way around. That piece put on there. We'll just cut. Just like that. Next, we're going to take our head assembly, or our center section. And you can see how it's offset. You want this to be towards the front of the vehicle. And we're going to take a hex bolt, lock washer, flat washer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one in on each side to hold my head in place while I install the remaining hardware. I'm going to see if I can do this by myself. Get one in. There. And then back here. So you can see I was struggling a little bit, but you know, it may be better to get an extra set of hands to help hold it up there. But I did get it in by myself. Now we'll go ahead, do the same hardware combination on the remaining holes. Next, we're going to tighten and torque everything to the specification and the instructions. We're going to start with our center section, and we're going to tighten and torque those bolts first. Then we're going to tighten and torque our side plates to our frame rails, and then the side plates to our cross members. Next, we're going to drill out for our safety chain loops. You can see we're going to have 4 holes here. We're going to use the 2 in the drop corrugation, which is going to be this inside 2. So you can see how our corrugation on our bed, this is raised, this is lower. We're going to be using the 2 inside ones that go on this drop corrugation, because we want that safety chain, the top side, to sit down inside of here level with the raised corrugation, and make sure that we have total access of our bed. We'll take a drill bit and we're going to do a pilot hole first. And then once we're done with our pilot hole, we're going to come back with a 1/2 inch drill bit and drill it out the rest of the way. So you can see how I have one in. It's in my lower corrugation. You can see how easy this slides in and out. We're going to have a spring that we're going to put on the bottom side of it. So we want to make sure that that is going to do that. So what I did is we're going to finish it out, like I said, with a 1/2 inch drill bit. You can do it either way. If you have a step bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just slightly bigger than a 1/2 inch so that we make sure that slides in and out of there. It doesn't hang up on the holes at all. And then don't forget to coat your bare metal with that clear coat or whatever paint you may be using. From underneath, we're going to put on a flat washer. We're going to put on a spring. Another flat washer. And then a nylon lock nut. We're going to do the same thing with this one, and the same thing with this side. We're going to take a 3/4 inch socket, and what we want to do is we only want to tighten the nut to where the head of the bolt is even with it. Now we're going to take our handle, We're going to slide it in either from the driver or passenger side. It doesn't matter which side. It's a matter of personal preference. You can use it on either side. We need to go from the outside of the vehicle though, slide it in over top of your frame rail into the center section. Next, we're going to take our locking pin, go ahead and slide it into our receiver. Now we're going to have a couple of washers. We're going to try just using one right now, and we're going to use a large spring. We're going to slide that in there like that. You can see there's guides on your hitch. We'll line it up. And then we're going to line up the hole. You can see that hole there in that rod. We're going to line up that hole with this hole on the top of that pin. Once you got the hole lined up, insert our bolt, and we'll put our lock right on the back. We'll take a 7mm socket, 8mm wrench, and we'll tighten the bolt and nut down, holding our guide rod in. There. Now what we're going to do, because our kit comes with a second washer, we're going to go ahead and pull our rod to make sure that our locking pin comes out all the way. If it doesn't, what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, add another washer onto it to give us a little extra room. Once you've got everything installed, you've checked it to make sure you've got everything tight, everything's working correctly, you can go ahead and reinstall your fender liners, your spare tire, and you're ready to go. Once you have your liners back in place, you can see where we have the handle installed. Our liner would have covered it, so I just took my utility knife, just cut out, a section where we're able to pull that through really easy. That'll do it for a look at installation on the CURT double lock flip and store underbed gooseneck hitch with installation kit on our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500.